Hi, Dr. Daly. My name is Anthony, and I'm a sports doc from the Midwest. I have a question for you about calculating your net worth. I had always been under the impression that you shouldn't include your primary residence in calculation of your net worth, but probably a few months ago now, you had a podcast series with a number of different docs on kind of detailing their financial situations and how they paid off their loans and their net worth. And I noticed that a lot of them did include their primary residence when calculating their net worth, regardless of whether or not it was paid off. And I know this is somewhat semantics when calculating your net worth, but was curious to see your thoughts on whether or not you should include your primary residence. Any thoughts you might have on it would be appreciated. And I hope this finds you well, and thanks for all that you do.
Okay, net worth. The fun thing about net worth is it's your net worth. You can calculate it any way you like. Just use the same method every time when you calculate it, because what you're trying to do is compare it against last year's net worth, not someone else's net worth, but your own net worth, and against your retirement goals. So you can count it whatever way you like. I just encourage you to be consistent with it. But here's how I think you ought to do it. I think you should include the value of your residence. If you're not sure what it is, just take it off Zillow. It's close enough, and include that. But you also need to include the mortgage on the liability side when calculating out your net worth. So count the asset, count the liability, and that should get you where you want to be. Bear in mind that this is not the same number as your nest egg, i.e. the money you can use to generate income to live on in retirement. Net worth is not your nest egg. And so I would not count the value of my residence toward my nest egg that I'm going to live on in retirement. I calculate that number totally separately, but I think it's perfectly fine to use when calculating your net worth. I mean, if you really want to, you can count the value of your cars and your boats and your clothing and your furniture and all that kind of stuff. But I generally kind of stop at the value of my residence as far as, my consumption goods go, just because that one's, number one, a lot of money. Number two, generally appreciates. And number three is generally relatively easy to sell, at least within a few months. Whereas you might find most of your stuff is difficult to sell. And if you can, it tends to be, less than what the value would be if you just donated it to charity. If you want your questions answered by the White Coat Investor, record your question at whitecoatinvestor.com/YQA or click the link in the description.